Welcome, 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 welcome. Get in the door. Class has started. Take your seat. Roll call in the chat. I want to know you guys are here. I have an agent calling me. 1 second. Hang up on them. I'll talk to them in a second. Welcome, guys. You are here at Wholesale 101. Today is going to be extra special. As I told you last week, we have two of our favorite guests. The Boltons are here, Carlos and Courtney, plus more. They've got the kiddos in the background, so Courtney might pop in and out. But guys, welcome to Wholesale 101. I'm glad you guys are here.
Yes, I'm excited. Carlos,
No,
how are
me
you?
too. I'm doing fantastic, man. She's getting the kids out of here so we can actually get to work. Um, I'm doing good, man. I can't complain at all. Market is turning, and we're starting to see people come back out, and buyers are ready again. So we're ready to get this work in.
Do you
I'm
think that's a
all about
function of the
that.
market or the seasonality of the business?
I think it's both, because I've had some buyers tell me that I'm not doing anything until end of Q2, and
Mm.
because some of them are a little weary, they don't know which way the market's going to swing. Here in Jacksonville, we've seen some markets, some parts of the city, decrease prices 5 to 10% over the last 4 months. Stuff I was seeing back in October sold. I had one property sold for about 285, and in November the same kind comp, say like a street over, sold for 265, and I got one on the market at 240, not selling. So that's telling me
Mm.
that there's a little downtick here in prices. So something to watch.
Are you having agents tell you that there's going to be an uptick? Because I'm seeing the same thing that you're seeing, while also having conversations with agents who are like, no, we'll just wait because the market's going up. And I'm like, where are
Yeah,
you seeing that? Is they saying the same thing to you?
yeah, yeah. Same thing. They're saying the same things, but I'm just kind of like I'm gonna keep analyzing my data and take what they say with a grain of salt. You know,
Mm,
again, some of us investors know a lot more than agents, so we have to be cautious of that. Not bragging or anything, but we're doing these numbers daily. Their job is to get listings and sell listings. Some of the agents that are investor savvy, though, they know what they're doing, so definitely take note from them. But just
hmm
take everything with a grain of salt, because none of us really know. We're all just making assumptions.
Yeah, you can't tell the future. Can only watch the data trends. Everybody, welcome. If you're just getting here, we are Wholesale 101. We're going to be using our favorite software, Privy, today with Jacksonville King and Queen. Daisy had it right when she dropped that in the comments. That's absolutely what they are. And we are so excited to learn from you guys today. I do want to tell the chat, if you're just getting here, the chat is for working together. I mean, that is how we do deals in the Astro community. And that's what you can utilize Jamil's YouTube for. Everybody in the chat is either going after their first deal or already done a deal or working on a ton of deals. So if you've never done a deal before, for I'm getting after it, will you drop me an A? If you have done 1 to 2 deals, will you drop me a B? So I know that you're getting with it. And then if you're at 3 or more deals, drop me a C so I know where everybody's at, and we can bring the most value today. Thanks, Laura. Always first in the chat on top of it. Now, what have you guys been focusing on in terms of these, like, the shifts in the market? What is that doing to your numbers and the ways that you guys are actually approaching these offers?
So we're being more aggressive when it comes to our offer prices. We're making sure we have a bigger spread on there, because if we are going downward, we need to make sure our investors are covered. The last thing we want to do is sell a bad deal and lose that relationship. So we're being more aggressive with our numbers, factoring higher holding cost, longer renovations, stuff like that for the days on market that they could be sitting. And then
Mhm.
also, as far as the acquisition side, we're increasing our actual amount that we're putting in. So yesterday, one of our ad guys did
Mm.
18 written offers, a couple verbals as well, and then we put in about 5 ourselves. So we're making sure we're putting out an insane amount of offers every day, because the more shots we take, the more we'll hit, and the
Mhm.
more aggressive we're being, the less we're going to hit at first. It's going to be a heavier follow-up game.
Yeah, definitely
Yeah.
aggressive and consistent.
So do you
That's
guys hit
pretty.
normally somewhere between that 15 to 25 offer a day between your team?
Yeah, this week we ramped it up. Before it was staying about 5 to 10.
Mhm.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
That's
definitely had a
awesome.
number just to make sure that those deals are getting, submitted and try and fill that pipeline.
Yeah, making the funnel happen. That's what I think so many of the newer people need to remember is that the people that you're talking to today, you're probably going to do a deal with in 2 months. So you just keep talking to them and you keep that funnel going, and any offers you're putting in today might not lock today, but still could be a future deal for you right down the line.
Mm-hmm.
How many follow-ups and touches do you normally do before you end up with a deal? I'm asking details, guys. If anybody's shown up, I'm like, oh, I always want to know more from Carlos and Courtney, so I'm in on the details.
I'd say 6 to 8.
Yeah, we follow up a lot.
Yeah, we follow up a lot, but I'd say 6 to 8 touches, and then we usually have a contract with them.
That's definitely where the money is.
Yeah.
Yep. Do you guys
Always.
set reminders? Like if you talk to somebody in 2 weeks, you're going to talk to them again, and in 30 days, and is it like a drip and with reminders?
Yeah, so we're actually following up a lot heavier than that. So if they have a property that we really like and they're just being stickler on price, but we know where this thing's going to trade at, we're on them every Monday or Friday. Every week we're calling them. And half the time they get, 3 or 4 other wholesalers lock it up, don't know what the numbers are. They're way too high. And we just sit there and wait for it to fall in our lap. And then it falls in our lap and the agent's like, well, you did tell me so. And then they'd help me build rapport. So
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
So when you're submitting your offers, you're going through the listing agent typically?
Yeah. Yep. Unless it's an off market that we've got, from agent outreach, and it's not their listing, then they would represent us, whether it's a wholesale on the other side or another agent on the other side. But for the on markets, 9 times out of 10, we're using a listing agent. That other 1 time is because that listing agent has refused to put in our offer because of the price, or just doesn't want to work both sides, or isn't that motivated as a person.
Right.
Mm-hmm. No,
Very
that makes
cool.
sense. Well, everybody, come in the door, because our goal today is to get Carlos on the phone. We learn something every time we do, and he's going to show us exactly how he's going to dive into Privy to find on-market deals, and then we're going to kind of talk back and forth until we find the right one to make a call on. So while Benson is pulling up Privy and going to show you around, I want to remind you guys that we are always using Privy. Even myself as a licensed agent who has access to the MLS is using Privy because of the way that it provides that data and the way that it lays it out so easily and quickly. If you don't have Privy, I highly suggest it. And I suggest you use our promo code. That is one of my favorite last names, DamG. And if you use that, you're going to get 30% off your annual plan or 20% off the first month if you go that route. So I'm glad you guys are here. This is going to be fun.
Yeah,
I'm happy to hear that your team puts out 18 offers. And most people will go, great, I got 18 offers out today. And then you went and you put another 5 out there.
Oh, yeah.
Actively on the ground with them.
Absolutely. We are owner operators of our store. So we're in the field. We're in the dirt. We're in the mud. We're getting dirty too.
Yeah, we're still working.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
Amazing.
I'm the same way right now with the rebuild of my business. I am like full VAC person on the phones nonstop. And it's been fun because I've kind of been like up and down in where I play a role in my own business, and being back on the ground floor is somewhere I want to stay. Like there's fun in that. You get connected to people. You really get to feel like you get to be helpful. So yeah, the best parts is on the phone.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, why would you stop something that works?
Exactly.
Like,
Hey, Corey,
And
last time.
even Jamil says, oh, what?
Oh, sorry to talk over you, but I wanted to ask you a question because I remember last week you were on a call with an agent and you said, she asked you, which company you're with, who is it? And you're like, oh yeah, I'm with this company and I'm the acquisition person. So this is your company and you say you're an acquisition person. Is that your strategy?
Yes. For the most part, that is my strategy. And then when I end up being the signer or they ask for documents on the business and I say that I'm an owner, sometimes I'll get questioned on that where they're like, oh, so you actually own? And I'm like, yes. And I work within a business that I own as the acquisitions director to make sure that we're taking good care of sellers. But to some extent, I do that so that I can create sort of like levels of of support for them. So as just an acquisitions director, if I needed them to have an additional support, I'm going to pull in my partner in my business. His name's Austin, and he will play the owner so that I can still play the acquisitions director. And sometimes we'll switch that. But it always feels good if you have a problem to be able to direct to somebody else who can have a fresh listen. And so I like to have that path in my business.
I like
Super
that.
That's smart. That's
I
really
like that.
smart. You can also play good cop, bad cop too. If something comes up and you need to be like, oh, I need to talk to the owner. I need to talk to, the head of operations or something like that. So you can put it off on somebody else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to experiment with that a little bit more though, because I don't use my license either. Like if I'm calling, I could say, hey, this is Corianne with LPT Realty and go that route, but I rarely do. Do you guys have any acquisitions people that are licensed, and do they use that in their initial call?
No, but we do have an agent that we're going to be working extremely close with. And I think I'm going to have her pitch that because I've noticed some agents in our market are way more comfortable if you are an agent.
Yeah.
'Cause there's, in Florida, there's so many of us virtual wholesalers here, and I think agents are like slowly but surely starting to like get it. And that's one of the questions I've been getting is, are you licensed? And I'm like, no, I'm not. And I'm not looking to, buy and sell property on the MLS, but I might do it just to list my own.
Yeah. Yeah, if you have a
Right.
go-to agent that's willing to help you, that increases your chances as well. That's
Yep.
only great for your business.
Yeah.
And
I'll
utilize
keep you
it the right
posted.
time.
Yeah.
If I find out that saying that I'm a realtor just makes all of my conversations go easier, I'll keep you posted. Because most of the time people ask me and I'm like, no, you don't need a license to wholesale. In fact, the me being a wholesaler and then not figuring out wholesaling, going and getting my license was just me distracting myself with education. I've
Yeah.
used it since, but it was just complete me trying to distract myself. And I try to save everybody else from doing that. You don't need your license to wholesale.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we don't have ours.
You just need privy.
But at least you have that in your toolbox.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, I love it because I do get to, I help friends, I help people move up to their homestead in Colorado. There's plenty of different ways to play chess with a license, so it's useful. But if you're going after your first deal, if you're thinking I want to make money in real estate, that is a distraction from being able to make money in wholesaling.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Me.
100%.
All right. Speaking
Very
of using
cool.
privy,
Well, you guys can see my screen, right?
Yep.
yeah.
So I just zoomed right into Jacksonville this time. Typically, we'll start off like nationwide, and I'll show you the heat map so you can see where the data sources are. And then I click this button over here that says fix and flip, which will plot on the map where all the fix and flip activity is nationwide. But I decided just to drill down into Jacksonville this time because this is where you guys are located. And I heard a rumor that you actually moved there because you were doing deals there. So like you're like, you know what, we could do virtual or we could just be our own boots on the ground. Like what led you guys just to move there? That's pretty amazing.
So
It was real estate.
it was real estate, but it wasn't wholesaling.
Yeah, because we missed the coast.
Yeah. So it wasn't wholesaling actually. So I used to be in the Air Force and I got medical retirement in 2021. We left Northern California, moved to Knoxville, Tennessee. I'm an electrician by trade. I have a journeyman license, certified, a bunch of things. So that was my thing. I was gonna, go get a job, save my money. I'm gonna go to flight school because that was my ambition. Was always to fly. So I started flight school, and I had randomly found Grant Cardone on an ad talking about NFL players and NBA players going broke. Whenever they retire, there's like a big chance of them being bankrupt. I started listening to him. He's talking about investing in real estate. I'm like, I've never in my life have ever even thought of investing in real estate. Like where I come from, investing isn't even in our dictionary. Like it's not even a word that comes up. It's just make money and spend it. That's how we come up. And he said that everything about multifamily. So we started diving into it. And we said, well, Knoxville is very small. The market's very small. I don't think this is going to be a good market for us, but we have heard Florida is phenomenal. So we decided right then and there, okay, let's go move to Florida. We originally were going to pick Orlando until the house that we were going to get into, the neighbor got arrested for making a bomb. So we did not pick that house.
No.
Got approved for house in Jacksonville literally the day after. Moved down here, found Pace Morby, tried direct to seller creatively, and then found Jamil and started wholesaling, and it's been a wrap ever since.
That's amazing.
Wow.
Talk about burning the ships at the beach. I mean, you guys just went all in on this thing. Like there was no turning back. It's amazing.
Yep. If you want to win at something, that's what you have to look at it.
Yeah.
Love it. No regrets?
And making a jump like that with like kids in tow, it takes so much effort. And so like, but you guys made it look graceful. I mean,
Yeah, and
I saw you
we've
guys as
moved.
cute.
Well, we moved what? Pennsylvania, Texas, Mexico, California, 5 times in 7 years. And that's from Pennsylvania to Texas to New Mexico to Northern California to Tennessee to Florida.
Yeah, I can say it definitely was not easy. We were just really focusing on the positives, even when some days sucked. Because I'm not gonna lie, some days did. You know, moving and like business,
Starting
and
over.
family, and starting over all at the same time. It could be definitely a crunch and a lot for one person to handle. But at the same time, like we were just focusing on what we were going to gain, and by just doing the thing right in front of us and worrying about the day current, like what is going on right now, what can I do, what is right in front of me that I can accomplish right now. Don't worry about everything that needs to get done, just focus on the right now, and day by day I'll get closer to my goal.
Yep.
I love that you said that, because I think, especially in coming into this business, focusing on the gain, not the gap, is going to be so important for all our newbies. And you've like clearly done that, and we can see it in your business, and we can see it in the way that you show up, that you're always looking for, you're not saying here's what's the difficult part, here's where I can add value and where I can go. And it's something I look up to you guys for.
Well,
Thank you.
you.
I appreciate that. I mean, there's always going to be another mountain to climb.
Yep.
I mean, we're in like a pivot transition right now, like within our business, and there's a lot going on, but we're just excited for everything that's, you know, going to happen and what we're going to learn through it all as well.
Yep. Remember what they say, you know, every step that you take is going to determine your steps you took 5 years later. If you don't take the small pieces now, you cannot reap something later. You can't, you reap what you sow. And that's very true. Make sure you're sowing your seeds every single day, because 5 years from now, you're going to go back and you're going to turn around, and those little seeds you put in have well surpassed sprout. They are fruitful now.
Right.
But if you never took them small steps back then, you would no way have fruit today.
It's true.
As somebody who works in the garden, I can tell you how I love that particular chapter and that area of the Bible, just because it really does feel that way. Sometimes when you're putting seeds in the ground, you're like, what am I doing this for? This is hard. When am I going to see this? I want a tomato now, not yesterday. And even in growing things, like we do it seasonally, but we also think like I did things for this year that I'm not actually going to be able to see a difference for probably like 3 years. But I'm changing the soil. I'm changing the foundation of where I'm going to place that seed in the future. And dang, it's good.
And this is good soil right here. Everybody on the Zoom call right now, this is your soil, and you are the seed.
Yeah.
Let's sow some seeds.
Let's water.
Let's do it. All right. So when we first jump in and we're looking at a city, tell us what we're looking at, Benson.
So really, you're just trying to get a sense of where you want to plant those seeds, right? So, you know, you could say, okay, just Jacksonville, but Jacksonville's, you know, a medium-sized city, right? It's pretty big. So, you know, there are certain areas of even Jacksonville that you maybe want to avoid, because you think about, okay, where are the ingredients present for us to be able to actually successfully wholesale a deal? And you want to think about, okay, if I were to find a deal out here in Cisco Gardens, like if I found an opportunity, right? Like it's a motivated seller. You see how there isn't anybody flipping out here. So if you don't have people that are flipping in an area where you're searching for deals, then you won't have the data that you need to determine what that property is worth. You won't have the ability to determine an accurate after repair value. And then if you don't know the after repair value, you certainly won't know what to offer to write. And then that creates a lot of confusion, and it stops people in their tracks. They don't take action. So if you target an area that has larger circles with higher numbers, there's more activity there, not just normal sales activity. This is all fix and flip activity. This is really the core of a wholesale business, is okay, what is the ARV going to be? What's the after repair value of this house I'm evaluating? Really, the only way to determine that is to compare your house to renovated homes. So that's why you want to target these high investor activity areas. We're not saying that you should flip, but when you're trying to wholesale, fix and flip is really the core of your business. Now, there's other types of buyers, right? There's landlords as well. But when we're trying to determine ARV, this is what we want to look at. So this area right here in Lake Shore, Cedar Hills, right in here, there's a pretty hot pocket of what's going on. And then if this is remote for you, then you can just look at the deals that were closed, start to educate yourself on what other investors are actually buying properties for. And that will inform you on like where you should be when you're submitting offers as well.
Yep. And we got two properties in that same area right now that we're taking buyers to tomorrow.
Oh,
Proof is
amazing.
in the pudding.
Yep.
So the data lines up with what your local information is telling you, right? So that's a great thing to know because you guys are there, you're on the ground. And so you can see here that even like in this little area, there's pockets that are just like really popping. And so you really think about like, I need properties that are within about a half a mile of where the house is that I'm looking at, because I need to be able to use it as a comp. So it needs to be within the right appropriate distance, and it needs to be similar, build year. It needs to be similar bedrooms and bathrooms. Like you want to think, okay, are the comps coming around me? Like, do I have similar properties? Do I have an area where there's like it's homogeneous, right? Like a lot of this stuff is the same. If you go to one of those areas where all the houses are different and one was built in 1929 and another one's there's new construction and then there's stuff that was built in the 60s, like it's hard to comp those because you don't have that homogeneity. So this is why you choose an area like this, because it brings everything together in one place and it makes it so much easier, especially for beginners.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And the beauty of this is if you don't know your market, these are the buyers. It's quite literally a list of different LLCs that we can find and we can contact so that we know what they're looking for. Are they still buying? Or are they only going to buy in Q2, just like Carlos was saying? And having that connection to who's moving and when, this allows you to do that so quickly and easily. And so for here, we want to jump into actually seeing properties that are currently for sale, right?
Yeah. So now that you've chosen this area, then you're going to figure out, okay, which angle am I going to go for when it comes for leads? Do I want to go off market or do I want to go on market? If you want to go off market, then you can come into the filter here and you can extract a list of, like foreclosures or vacancies, tired landlords, absentee owners. Those are just some of the types of motivated sellers you might be targeting. Or if you want to go for on market, where there's an agent involved and the person who owns the house has actually raised their hand and said they wanted to sell it, you can click find similar active deals. And then that will actually allow you to see houses that are for sale right now. And then you can choose which ones you want to go after and which ones that maybe you want to put in your queue. Carlos, are you guys going for a blend of both, like on and off market? What's like your main strategy?
Yep. Yeah, we're doing a blend of both. So we're doing agent outreach with our acquisitions guy. That's 85% of his job is to get off markets, but the other 15% comes from that agent outreach where they're bringing them their listings. So stuff that they already have listed or one of their friends has listed, stuff like that. So then we're converting those into our MLS ones along with us pulling our list, making those calls, putting in offers as well. So we're doing both, and of course we're dispo heavy. That's our main piece of our business, just disposition. So if you got one coming in, it's going right out the door.
Do you guys look for seasoned listings? Is that one of the strategies?
I don't. The reason being, for me personally, I've noticed that if a listing is new and it's priced kind of well, maybe within 50 to 60,000, that thing is going to sell that week. So I want to be on top of those. So I want to make sure I'm seeing all of those. And then for the 60 days, I've noticed that some of them just really have no motivation. They're just sitting there waiting to get that right number, and they're just going to keep it if they don't sell. And again, but that doesn't go for everybody. That's not for every seller. That's just what I've noticed and why I target the newer stuff before I target the older stuff.
That's interesting because
Austin's
that's.
curious.
Go ahead.
Do you have one person specifically that just targets the MLS, or are you all kind of, just if you run across an MLS property, how do you keep that consistent in such a large business?
Yeah, we've been focusing on MLS like
Yep.
the last 2 weeks for sure.
Yep.
Me and Carlos.
Yeah, and then our act guy is focusing on the off markets. But like I said, he gets them frequently. And then on our deal board, we have the off markets, depending on what category of zip code, what class of zip, and then the MLS property. So anything that he gets MLS, we can see on there. We know, all right, we're going to let that one go. We're not going to call on that. He's already touched base with them, that kind of stuff.
Gotcha. Okay. Gotcha.
Yes, Pamela, Jackson's still hot.
Oh yeah.
It's,
Okay, well let's check out some properties here. In this house right here, let's see here if this one is still available. So we've added in this link into any listing right here where it says view external listing, and that sometimes helps to see additional pictures. Actually, I remember was talking with our team earlier this week. They're mapping all of the fields in Jacksonville. The MLS up there just is redoing all of their mapping. So I'm hoping that won't be too much of a roadblock here because we're still getting our third party listings.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see what we have available here that could be worth looking at, because the direct to MLS is not tied in right now.
Mm-hmm.
So let's look at a couple houses here. Here's a house. It's for sale for $175. And this is a 3.2, 975 square feet. It's pretty small. But that one sold for $300K. So you only have one comp here. In a scenario like this, would you actually still go for it if you don't have a ton of like sales that are comparable?
I would.
Yeah.
I would, and I'll explain too on why I do that. So to go back to your point earlier, if you're too royal and you don't have comps, then you know to stay away. But if you're within the city and you don't have any comps, but you do have one, you might just have a really good pocket neighborhood where they're old homeowners where they don't want to move. It's a great neighborhood and you only get a couple here and there. But when you get that one, you know that it's going to fly out the charts because it's a desirable neighborhood that nobody's selling in.
Right. Okay. Well, I agree with that. I've been a proponent of that for a long time as well. But for beginners, it can be tough, right? Because they're trying to figure out like values with, limited comparables.
Mm-hmm.
And so the more sales activity that's present, the easier it is.
Absolutely.
But let's look at this one here. This one actually just sold a couple on the 10th. But let's look at another property here. Again, I hope that this isn't going to be, I wish I would have known beforehand that we were going to target Jacksonville, but let's look at this house here. This is a higher priced home, $995.
It's really expensive. Yeah, I personally won't even call him this one. This one
you wouldn't call it.
No,
that's
luxury out here. Most of our flips are ARVs of 450 and under.
And that's because you got a bigger buyer pool, right? You have more buyers on the back end, so there's no point in going after those big ones.
Yeah, exactly. There's not a big buyer pool for our investors. When they're done with it, not many people are ready to spend $1 million on a property or 1.5 on a property, especially in today's economy.
Mm-hmm.
What's the after repair value that you're going after in Jacksonville? Do you have anything that's kind of like the cap for you?
Yeah, what I tell agents is anything ARV 650 and under. But the bread and butter primarily really is like 300 to like 410, I'd say. Even like the 250s and up, like 250s are selling phenomenal. Like that price range right there is phenomenal too, but anything up to about 450 on ARVs.
On the ARV. So
yeah,
you'll buy it for much
half
less
that.
than that.
Yeah, typically half that.
Okay. This one, it looks like
Jason's
it's got some
curious
meat
if
on the
you run
bone.
across a subject property that has more bedrooms and bathrooms than most of all the comparables. How do you approach something like that?
So this comes down to your market. You got to know what your appraisal rules are in your market. So for us, if say our subject property is a 3.2, but our comp is a 4.2, I'm taking $5,000 off for that room.
Mm,
Where other markets, some people would take 10,000 off of that room or 25,000 off of that room. So it really just
mhm.
depends on your market. You got to just really know your specifics, but you're gonna definitely have to deduct for that along with your appraisal rules. Also take consideration the square foot. Square footage plays a major role because that's where you're getting your value for your property.
Yeah. Average nationally is probably about 10K per bedroom, but knowing the market specifics is going to be so helpful in really nailing your number by knowing that. I wouldn't have, like, coming into Jacksonville, I would remove 10K off of a bedroom because I don't know that market nearly as well as I know Tampa.
Mm.
Mhm.
Yep. And every part of the city is different though. Like if you go north of the I-10, I mean nothing's really valuable at all. Like a 4 bedroom or 3 bedroom might be like $1,000 difference. But if you go to, east of the river and you get over towards like Bay Meadows, then you might be at 10 grand a bedroom because those houses are way higher class. So it really just depends, all market specifics.
And that's why if somebody said right now, Carlos, I really want to come to Jacksonville, I want to work there, but you are already in that market. I'm sure you're wholesaling all the properties that are wholesalable. Can I even come to that market? Is there enough? What would you say? Because
I
I get
would
that
say
question a lot.
I would say come to this market, let me teach you how to work this market, and bring me deals and I'll sell them for you.
Yeah.
That's what I say.
Let's collaborate.
Yeah, we don't need to compete. And yeah, my guys are going to do acquisitions because I have a business to run. But there's so much open in this market for everybody to eat from. Everybody can get a piece. And not to mention, like Austin said before, Jacksonville is the largest city land mass in the United States of America. That's a lot of land to cover.
Yeah.
And mobile homes are really big out here, especially right now.
Yeah. Yeah. A
I
lot of
didn't
people are
know that
focusing on
either.
this. I know a couple of people that are really focusing on mobile homes and having a ton of success with them.
Yep. Us
So this
too.
Good to
house right
hear.
here, I just looked into it. It looks like it is actually available, but it's contingent. So they have a contingency on it. This one might be an interesting one to call on. Do you ever call on ones that are contingent and put in backup offers, or just to see like, okay, if this one falls out, call us?
Every
Yep.
day.
Yep. Every time. When I'm doing my list for my properties I'm going to call on, the first thing I check is those pendings and contingents, because most of the time those are wholesalers, like I said, that are just locked up too high, and they don't
Yeah.
know what they're doing yet. So I mean they're taking the shots, so keep taking the shots, and the more shots you take, the better you'll get. But we do call them for sure.
So the agent on this one, Sandra Tracy, I put the phone number in the chat, in the private chat for you. And the phone number should be there if you let me know
Yep.
if you can see it.
I got it.
My dreams are coming true. Carlos on the phone. Let's go.
Can I see the description of the property so I can get some context before I call?
I was going to say Tony's going to start those calls now. Let's go.
Ooh.
Hardwood hardy board exterior. Okay. Could we address Rose while we wait? Yes, we can. Let's see. What was Rose's question?
Yeah, so here, I'll address that while you start to dial, because she's asking if she finds the end buyer for somebody else that's already under contract, does she consider the ACK wholesaler? And the answer is actually no. In that scenario, you would be considered the dispositions wholesaler because you are bringing the disposition side and the dispo, which means the buyer, to the table.
Yep.
So yeah, and if you've got any questions on kind of the nuance of how to do that, you can find me on Instagram, just Corianne Wright. I keep it easy.
Gotcha. All right, I'm ringing.
I thought you might still be confused. So
Can you guys hear this?
Mm-hmm.
you've reached.
I'll try it one more time, and then we'll get another one. Double dial, people.
Hi, you've reached Sandra with.
Yep. Sandra ain't answering. I'm gonna shoot her a text. Maybe we'll get her call back before we get off here. What was that address again, Benson?
It is 5671 Ellis Trace Drive.
5671 Ellis Trace. Okay. All right. I shot her a text, and we'll see if she rings us back.
Awesome.
All right, Nick, I would like to learn from you and what you want. Sounds good, man. DM me on Instagram. It's going to be carlos._.bolton.
Perfect.
Awesome. Okay. Well, let's look at this other one. This is 5342 Astral Street. It looks like they have it set up as handicapped accessible.
Mm-hmm. Can I give you context on this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this property, it was for sale last year. It was an elderly person, and they were not trying to budge on price. And we dropped the ball and didn't follow up, and somebody else bought it, and they're wholesaling it.
Okay.
Interesting.
So
Okay.
this is an active wholesale listing?
Yep. Yep.
Now, can you explain to people who might not know what wholesaling is? What is that process?
Yeah, so I personally don't do it because it's a lot of risk, in my opinion. But you're buying the property with hard money, and you're floating the loan over a certain amount of months, hoping that you're going to be able to put it back on market and sell at a higher price. So instead of you trying to go out here and get a contract to assign the contract, you're just simply trying to take ownership of this property and resell it every single time. So it's like an extended double close.
Yes. And many people will actually put a little bit of money into painting, or it's like a paint the pig scenario. If it's 10K or less, sometimes I see a lot of people will do that and then relist. And a lot of those buyers are often agents because they're getting the added benefit of a listing on their record, and you want as many listings as you can get. So there's kind of a double hit for that. And I have wholesaled 2 agents who are doing that. They really just paint it and then they list it after I've wholesaled to them.
Yep. They do a lot of cleanup, little landscaping, and just put it right back up.
Yep.
So they're closing on it. They're not just marketing it while it's under contract.
No, I'm like 99% sure that Astral, they closed on this one like a few months ago. If you could check the record, it might be on there. I could be mistaken with another one on that street, but I remember that ramp. That ramp.
Oh no, like I think you nailed it with with that price. I mean, not with the price, but with you said it was an elderly person.
Yep.
So okay.
That's and because you know your markets, because you're on the phone all the time, you even understand that when you recross a property that you've seen before.
Yeah.
Which is it's awesome. That's
Yeah,
the best part about being focused in a market.
Absolutely. I've been seeing so many properties that were listed like last February, and I'm like, dang, you guys are still sitting.
Guys, just a reminder, we are on Privy right now. If you don't have Privy, I highly suggest it because it gives you all this information so quickly, so you can really get to know your market and you can find a deal. So if you don't have Privy, get it today and use the code DAMG. That's going to get you 30% off the annual plan or 20% off the first month if you go that route. I did see a question in here. Oh, yes, it is. So what would your text look like when they don't answer? Will you read us that?
Yep. I said, hey, it's Carlos. I'm just giving you a call about your listing on 5671 Ellis Trace Drive. Please give me a call back when you can. Thanks. Simple as that. Letting her know my name. I'm just calling about your property. And then when I get on the phone with her, I'm going to just be having a brief conversation. I'm not getting it too deep. I'm not trying to get too personable. I just really want to know about this property, and just build natural rapport with my expertise and her ear and her expertise in my ear. And just going back and forth and building rapport organically that way.
I love that. I love that. All right, so what are we looking at right now?
So this one right here is for sale. I think they might have changed agents on it. I was just looking it up. So this one is actually listed now by Linda Scott, and her phone number is in the chat.
Got it. And can I see the description as well again?
Mm-hmm.
All right, charming two-bedroom.
It says recent updates, but look at this place. I don't know what they updated. They got new wood paneling, maybe.
Yeah, they got the laminate panel on the flooring.
Yeah, look at that carpet. I mean,
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
definitely old.
it's been lived in, that's for sure.
Oh yeah.
The health mentor had brought up that he sees wholesaling as buying a property, getting it, upgrading all the services, and then selling ready to finish. And I guess my question would be then what is your difference between a flip versus wholesaling? And what I've seen in the market is normally a wholesale is putting in very little amount of money, and normally it's cosmetic looking, like paint, flooring, under 10K. So we're talking super minimal on repairs. And flipping is when you're really gutting it and upgrading it and all of those services. So it really depends on the exit strategy of your buyer as to what they might do with that property. But that's generally how people and what they mean when they say wholesaling.
And also too, take consideration when you guys are comping and you come across a hotel property, just because it was bought kind of low and they did kind of freshen up a little bit, it's not a complete flip. So don't use it as your ARV. Even though they had bought it for this much and they did a little bit to it and then they sold it for this much, it still was sold under the actual repair value because they didn't do a full flip, but it was sold to an end home buyer, which could mess with your value in your neighborhood depending on what appraiser you have.
Yeah. Is Linda the agent on this property?
Yep, I'm gonna give her a
Yes.
ring right. Let's go.
Nice. Let's do it. Alexander, hi. He's in the building.
They ain't trying to answer today.
You have reached Linda Scott with CBI.
I'm gonna try one more time.
Don't these agents know that we're live?
I know, right? They should be on here.
You have reached Linda.
Nope. No answers. Nope. Shoot her a text me.
Darn.
Let's look for another one. I want to hear the sultry sounds of Carlos on the phone wooing an agent.
Nobody has picked up yet?
No, not yet.
I've been going for like what 5 minutes and nothing yet. What's going on?
I know. Dial faster, right? I'm sorry. We're too busy chatting. I'm asking all these questions.
No, I'm messing.
But it actually is helping us because I feel like we're giving a lot of insight to a lot of these guys. You know, outside they can see the power of privy, but to be able to get some of these gems of like these are the kind of questions or things I need to think about for my market. You know, you got to start looking into that.
Absolutely. Tell me, guys,
So
is
here's-
Carlos bringing you some value? Because if he is, I'd love to hear it in the comments. Drop an emoji. Tell him how grateful you are. He really deserves it for taking out the time today for us. And I happen to know that you're jumping from here straight into another call for our Astro family.
And before this, I was on an hour Zoom for somebody else. So we're zooming it out today.
Oh,
You
We'll
are in
probably-
high demand, sir.
Yeah, this next one's going to be probably 2.5 hours long. We're going into theory, so
Very
get in the
cool.
mindset.
So here's another one
One of my
that
favorite calls.
popped up. It's on Cedar Park Lane. Does this one look familiar to you, Carlos?
It
This
does.
tiles would be kind of a no miss, right?
Yeah, it does actually. I think I may have this one. on here. Let me see.
So
The
I put,
artistry of the peach and red tile. Mm.
I know.
See
They need to bring this back. I don't know why it went out of style. Like it pops.
It really does.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I do remember
I'm a
this
fan of the
one.
baby blue.
Let's see. Is it David?
Yeah, David Taylor is the agent on this one. It's the phone number's in the chat.
424-3946. Okay.
Call cannot be completed as dialed. Please check the number and dial again. Announcement for.
Nope. Wrong number.
Okay.
And hey Benson, can you do me a favor and click on those photos of the sinks? I want to see something real quick. Can you make it a little bit bigger maybe so we can see underneath the sink? Or is it cut off?
That's cut off right there, but there's a different view.
Yeah, I can kind of see on that left one. There's a little piece of it, but it's cut off on the pictures right there. Guys, one thing I want you to consider when you guys are looking at your properties, one expense that's usually pretty hefty that some people do forget about is the plumbing. So when you see an old sink like that, that's telling me like 1950 looking sink. Most likely that's going to have some galvanized steel or something like that other than PVC. So what you want to look for in the pictures is look for that white plastic coming down and see if it goes all the way through the wall. If it stops before the wall and you see like a black boot, then it's typically just an adapter hooking you up to the old plumbing of the house. So that is one thing you want to consider whenever you're running your numbers because that's an expense.
It's a huge expense that many people don't think about because you've got to get down into all of that piping and you have to replace it so that when you list, you're able to actually get an FHA or a VA loan. Because we want to go into like anytime a flipper is bringing a finished property, they want to be able to have the family with 2.5 kids that needs financing to be able to purchase. And if one of those things isn't FHA financeable, that's going to really hurt their listing, which means they're going to do that work. And that is some work to get all the piping out and to replace it completely.
Yep.
Keep it in mind.
Yep.
Hey,
Absolutely.
Carlos, I've looked in a bunch of different places for David, and his number is the same on all of these sites. Can you try that number again?
Yep. Let's see. Make sure I got it right too. 904-424-3946.
Yeah.
Your call has been forwarded to.
Let me check my CRM. I might have a different number in here for him.
Well, that time it said your call has been forwarded. Last time it said this number doesn't exist.
Yeah, and all I did was hit the same button, not even retype it. I don't know what happened.
Maybe David's on the run.
Yeah, David, he's hiding out. I'll try it one more time and see what it says.
Your call has been forwarded to voicemail.
Yeah, I wonder if he has like a Google Voice number or something listed.
It could be. I looked at a bunch of different sites and he has it the same on all of them. But here's one thing we can try. In one of those, it has his office number.
Okay. Yeah, what is it?
I'll put the office here. And actually, most of the time we call agents direct. We want to talk to them on our cell phones, but sometimes those just aren't available. So what's a good strategy for people who can't find the cell phone number to talk with the people at the office, like the admins or the assistants? What's a good strategy?
Definitely on Zillow. So if you need to go to Zillow to find numbers, you'll have the agent's name and their number, and then it usually has their brokerage and then that number, and that's usually the number you want to call. If it has a brokerage but no number, just take that brokerage and Google it in whatever city you're in. Because if it's a Keller Williams, there's Keller Williams everywhere. But if it says Keller Williams Beach Walk, then you know, okay, this is the Beach Walk location of Keller Williams. I can just Google that and get their number.
But as far as like when you actually get the person on the phone at the office, like what's the messaging like?
Oh, this is hey, this is Carlos. I was trying to get a hold of David for his listing over here on Main Street. I can't see what the street name is. On Main Street. Is he in the office right now, or do you have a number to contact him? The one on those listed isn't going through.
Okay.
And then they're either going to guide you to David, or they're going to say, what questions do you have? I'll ask David.
Right.
And I think many people who maybe weren't able to get a hold of an agent that they really wanted to, Let's see if we can get that.
The office isn't even working today.
Thank you for calling Norval Realty. We're unable to take your call at the moment. Please leave your name, number, and a brief message, and we will return your call as soon as possible. Thank you and have a great day. At the tone, please record your message. When you have finished recording, you may hang up or press 1 for more options.
Hello, my name is Carlos. I'm calling about the listing that David Taylor has on 5726 Cedar Park Lane. If you guys can have him give me a call back at 707-771-4495. Thank you guys. I appreciate it. I almost gave you guys my real number.
Yeah, you wouldn't be on Zoom then for the rest of the afternoon. We'd all be calling you, telling you how cool
I
you
know. I had to change my number and everything.
Oh
Yeah,
man.
no, there's like an event we're missing or something. Everybody's out. Nobody's working.
Maybe that's why this one's been sitting on market so long.
Probably. He's not doing his job that well. I've seen that
Yeah.
happen plenty of times.
Same.
All right, let's see if we can get one more in before we finish up today. I wanted you to talk to somebody.
It's crazy.
Vicky, I saw your question about how does Tampa compare. There is so much nuance on that one, and I want to focus on the Boltons and Jacksonville today. That if you would just message me, I'd be happy to talk all things Tampa because that's one of my favorite markets, that and Denver. So feel free to hit me up on IG. It's just Corianne Wright.
Do you
And
guys
then
know
Carlos,
Melanie Escalante?
Melanie? Yeah, that sounds
Mhm.
very familiar. Let me see.
I got the number here. I'll put it in the chat. It just seems like a really noticeable name.
Yep. Yeah, it looks like my my ad guy has definitely touched base with her, but they haven't had any solid communication yet.
Okay. So this one's still available. There's her number in the chat.
Okay. And the description, does it say anything about anything that's already done on the property?
I should know better. Sorry.
No,
I
you're
need to
good.
show you
The
the
roof and
property
AC.
remarks.
All right. So right there, the roof and AC were both upgraded in 2017. All right, I'm gonna give her a call.
You reached.
Oh, one more time. Man, I thought it was Christmas or something.
Darn.
All right. So no one answered. We have 5 minutes left. Let me call an agent that I know, and let's just follow up with her and see if she has anything right now.
That'd be awesome.
Great idea.
This is one of our favorite agents.
Your call has
Nope.
been forwarded.
She forwarded me.
She must be at the realtor party that everybody else is at.
Yeah, there must be a big agent convention going on.
I think there is definitely
Um,
something going on here in Jax that we're not aware of.
Just so that we can tell people a little bit about how you do that intro.
Mhm.
Can I play the agent?
Yeah, let's do it. And are we doing
All right.
the follow-up call, or are we doing like what do you want to do here?
Let's do you just saw that property for the first time. I'll play the listing agent.
Okay. All right. Ring.
Hello.
She answered.
Hey, is this Corianne?
Oh yeah, this is Corianne.
Hey, Corianne. Yeah, my name is Carlos. I'm just calling you about your listing on 123 Main Street. Do you have a second to talk?
Sure, I've got a little bit of time. That's one of my favorite listings I've got up right now. What are you thinking about it?
Okay, awesome. Yeah, I really like it. I just have a couple questions really about the majors. I did see on the description though that you said the AC and the roof was done in 2017. Were those on permits or was that just
Absolutely.
from the seller's disclosure?
Just from the seller's disclosure, I'm not sure on permits on that one.
Okay, all right, no worries. I didn't see anything about the electrical or the plumbing on that. Do you know if it had PVC throughout the whole house?
Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure it's PVC throughout the entire thing. I know the sinks look old, but it's totally fine.
Okay, and how about that electrical? Is it knob and tube and the old cloth stuff, or we updated?
Ooh, yeah, that one's old, but it's not going to take a lot of work. It's just old.
Okay, yeah, no worries. So that means I got to rip it out. No, it's okay. Awesome. I appreciate the information. As far as pricing goes, I see you're listed at about 125. How much room does the seller have on that?
125 is our solid bottom. We're not even looking at anything that's not 125.
Okay, gotcha. And you've been listed for about 35 days now. Did you run any comps as far as retail for once it is renovated?
Yeah, I'm thinking if you put in all the bells and whistles on it, I would probably relist it around 250.
250. Okay, so that means you're priced well. Awesome. Well, let me go ahead and verify your comps and your numbers. If you can, send me over a few of those comps you had. Then I'll get an offer over you today if that sounds good. Are you open to representing me on it, or do you want me to bring a buyer's agent?
Oh, I can represent you on it. That'd be fantastic. Do you think you can hit that 135 number?
I think so. I think so. I think we're pretty close. As long as your
Okay.
comps come out to be 250 or higher, we can make that work.
Certainly. I'll get those over to you, and I look forward to doing a deal with you.
Awesome. Thank you, Curry, and take care.
Click.
Let's go.
Bam. Just like that.
That was great. Easy peasy.
So,
It's just a
I
hi,
noticed
what's
you
going on
use
the inside?
a lot of the industry lingo, like some of the words you dropped that are those words that just kind of resonate with agents, and when they hear those, they're like their ears perk up.
Like the knob and tube and that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so the reason why I use specific terms like that is because it shows the agent that you have some type of expertise in something.
You've experienced.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody knows that electricity is electricity, but how many people know what that old wire is called?
Right.
You know, is it knob and
Right.
tube? Is it aluminum? You know, is it cloth? Is the panel Federal Pacific or Challenger? Because those are insurance problems. You can't get insurance with those kind of panels. So again, it comes down to the specifics and knowing those little things and throwing them out as keywords to the agent. They get comfortable with you because they're like, all right, now I'm not talking to this wholesaler. I'm talking to an investor.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And you can kind of catch them on what they might be saying. Like I could tell you it's $50K to fix up the whole thing, and then tell you that the electric needs to be redone, and it's $50K just to do the electric or whatever the number is, and you can kind of correct and go, oh, okay, so $50K for cosmetics is what you mean, and then when I add and fix the electric, I'll probably be up in $80K, and you're walking them through that so that when they get the offer, they understand why.
Exactly. They're already warmed up.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I
That
love
was
that.
impressive.
Thank you.
Darn it. I wish we could have got more people on the phone because I wanted to hear you more in action. But that last call, even you pointed out some really cool things that I think the audience can take with them. So you guys, when you target your local market, try to figure out some of those words that you can incorporate into the conversation. You just drop them in nonchalantly where it doesn't sound forced, and it really raise the value of that conversation in the mind of the agent just by having a little conversation.
Just study
Absolutely.
the
Yeah.
game.
Thank you guys for such a great Wholesale 101 and spending your time here with us today. You guys, if you don't have Privy, just a reminder, the promo code is DAMG. That'll get you the 30% off annual or 20% off the first month, and we highly suggest it. And then before we get out of here, Boltons. Obviously, the Astro Flam is all getting off of this call and coming over to your mindset call, and we'll see you there soon. But for everybody else who's not yet in our Astro Fam, how can they get a hold of you? How can they team up with you?
Yeah, I would say Instagram would be the best way. So my Instagram, I think somebody put in the chat, it's carlos._.bolton. And Courtney's is Courtney Bolt with 3 T's.
I think it's Corporal. I think it's. Can you check?
If you go on my profile, click on her picture, and she's going to be tagged in it. Just click on her right there, and you're good. You'll find her. Yep, that's it
And
right
if
there.
you're-
Jennifer in the chat.
Awesome. Here. Thank you.
Perfect.
Thank you,
Thanks for dropping that, Natasha, in there. And yeah, thank you everybody for showing up today and being a part of this. We cannot wait to see you next week, and have a wonderful rest of your week, y'all.
Absolutely. Take care, guys.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.